President Trump makes his Supreme Court pick, but the question is, will Democrats try to block it? We asked Senator Blumenthal of Connecticut if he's concerned about Judge Gorsuch, and we asked him how he'll vote. Then our legal panel will be here to discuss not only the resume, but the record of the man who would be the ninth justice. Also, President Trump's travel ban, it is generating a ton of controversy as well as lawsuits. Could his executive order be illegal or even unconstitutional? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Richard French. President Trump, he made an unannounced visit to Delaware's Dover Air Force Base today. That to honor the Navy SEAL killed in Yemen over this past weekend. Chief Petty Officer William Ryan Owens, he died during the raid on Al-Qaeda. The president was on hand as his remains were flown back to the United States. Back on Capitol Hill, there was a lot of news that as President Trump's cabinet picks begin to roll in. The Senate has confirmed Rex Tillerson for Secretary of State. Former ExxonMobil CEO squeezed through with a 56-43 vote. And the Senate Judiciary Committee approved Jeff Sessions for Attorney General. The full Senate will vote on Sessions next week. But Betsy DeVos's nomination for Education Secretary could be in jeopardy. Republican Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, they're planning to oppose her nomination. If any of the Republicans vote no, she will be voted down. Plus, Republicans found a way to move forward on Treasury Secretary nominee Steve Mnuchin, as well as Health Secretary nominee Tom Price. Democrats, as we told you, walked out yesterday and would not vote on both of these candidates. But Senate Republicans unilaterally changed the rules, allowing them to approve the nominees and get them out of committee, and to get them to a full Senate vote. There's also a lot of activity surrounding the president's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Neil Gorsuch. The federal appeals court judge from Denver headed to Capitol Hill today following his nomination to the highest court in the country.
I think the president made an outstanding appointment. We're all thrilled and looking forward to getting the confirmation process started.
Where Republicans cheered Trump's pick, Democrats warned of a looming battle. President Trump saying he supports Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell changing the rules to push his nomination through the so-called nuclear option.
If we end up with that gridlock, I would say, if you can, Mitch, go nuclear.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer expressed very serious doubts about Gorsuch's nomination, saying in a statement, Democrats will not simply allow but require an exhaustive, robust, and comprehensive debate. Protesters flocked to the Supreme Court steps to speak out about the consequential nominee. Gorsuch could end up hearing and helping decide cases on transgender rights, police use of force, rights of religious schools, and rights of disabled children.
With this nominee, there's too much at risk. The right to who you love, the right for a woman's access to her body.
I pledge that if I am confirmed, I will do all my powers permit to be a faithful servant of the Constitution and laws of this great country.
Now, earlier today, I spoke about this with a person who will have a front row seat to the confirmation proceedings, Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat from Connecticut, who sits on the Judiciary Committee. Well, when you heard the name, Neil Gorsuch, did it give you concern, or did you think he was the right jurist given the time in this country?
I do have concerns, in fact, deep and serious concerns about a number of Judge Gorsuch's rulings on privacy rights, women's health care, worker and consumer protection, public health and safety. And I'm going to be scrutinizing his record very, very closely and critically. If I conclude that he's out of the mainstream, in effect an ideologue, I will oppose his nomination. But one way or the other, there should be a 60-vote threshold. And I will insist on it, even if it means that the nomination is blocked.
President Trump said that if there is a filibuster, then he suggests and urges Republicans to go nuclear. To that end, certain Republicans have already said they're willing to consider going down that path with a simple majority. And even some Democrats in the Senate have already said that Judge Gorsuch deserves a vote. What about that? And do you think that the likelihood is, more likely than not, that if you guys do filibuster, they'll go the nuclear route?
I remain deeply angry about Republicans denying a hearing and a vote to Judge Garland when he was nominated. But two wrongs don't make a right, and we should have a hearing and a vote on Gorsuch to be Supreme Court Justice, but it should be by 60 votes ultimately, because we're talking about a lifetime appointment to the nation's highest court, which should be determined not by a razor-thin margin, but by a 60-vote threshold. And we should scrutinize this nominee's merits very closely and carefully, because it is a lifetime appointment, and we should be held accountable, and so should the president for this nomination.
So with that, we have just looked at the politics of the Supreme Court nominee. When we come back, we'll talk about both the candidate's credentials as well, and the legal panel weigh in as to whether or not he would be a good addition to the highest court of the land.